Joining us on stage is Zenzile, Skylark.
Hello, everyone. My name is Zenzile Skylark, and I have come a long way to get to where I am today. Culture and heritage was a very important part of my family upbringing. When I was young, I never found a situation in which I needed to hide a part of myself that I found important. However, the older I grew, it became clear to me that there were many that wanted me to be invisible. In interviews, instead of focusing on my career achievements and design skills, I've been questioned about how my parents raised me, if my name is real, and if I wash my hair. My personal presence was controversial, unorthodox, and I was seen as against the grain. And in the end, I was made to be invisible. I am a Black woman in America. And like many other Black women in America, we have struggled against the grain with self-love, self-identity, and have felt that assimilation is the only way to survival. This is why I'm creating XOLALI. XOLALI is Swahili for there will always be a savior, and sometimes that savior is you. It is a fashion line that celebrates the Black female experience through the storytelling of patterns and color. Fashion has everything to do with the temperature of the era that we currently live in. From the first traces of colonialism to the Afro-appreciation of the Black Panther movement, fashion and personal style have been able to speak on multiple levels on how history has progressed and also regressed. There has been a consistent effort to develop African American style by weaving parts of African culture with the Black culture of America. Regardless of our strides, society continues to make it very difficult for us to express our own identity, especially when we aspire for higher goals. XOLALI's goal is to foster the movement of self-love, self-identity, and to raise awareness about how Black women can celebrate the right to exist in their own hair and skin and feel beautiful. The first module will be a 100% cotton multi-use scarf, which has the ability to be tied in multiple ways for different parts of the body. Each shape represents an emotion or an experience in the pattern design. Some shapes take on a more recognizable form, illustrating love. Other shapes take a more organic and loose form, illustrating fear and sometimes rebellion. Once the shapes are together in composition, they complete a certain story about the journey to loving oneself. Others may be a story against standing up against racial discrimination and sexism. By wearing a XOLALI scarf, you are not only making a visual statement, you're also participating in the celebration and the visualization of a journey, the journeys of Black women in America. I am focused on designing for the Black female audience, in which 62% of us believe it is important to embrace and support our ethnic culture. 80% of us also believe that it is conscious buying that is very important to us. On a national level, the fashion and accessories market is very large and consistently growing, with 6 billion sales in the scarf and headwear sector alone in 2015. XOLALI hopes to gain 1% of this sector, which would be $60 million. The focus on head wraps are on the rise, and new companies arrive each year offering different pattern approaches. In terms of direct competitors, there are a few small companies located in New York City that focus primarily on African headwear and celebrating African culture. Most of them are brand new, only being in business for about 2 years, and they all import from local villages in West Africa. What makes XOLALI different is the approach to provide an authentic Black female experience made and sourced by other Black females here in America. By having XOLALI in the market, Black women can have something that it can relate to directly and also find strong community support for. XOLALI will be using the hybrid retail business model. The first phase will consist of head and neck scarves that are made of 100% cotton. There will be 4 designs to choose from, and each of the designs represents stories that Black women have been chosen by the XOLALI team with cultural sensitivity in mind. The XOLALI products will start off by being available through our online store, and also in local boutiques in Brooklyn and in Harlem. We will also have a strong social media presence, showcasing the product alongside with the woman and her story. Throughout the future phases, XOLALI will branch out into creating more types of accessories, such as headbands and hair ties for the younger audiences. Each line will launch seasonally, focusing on one specific topic of empowerment. Within that line will be 4 different variations of that topic and 4 different pattern approaches. Further on, XOLALI will widen its audience by focusing on partnerships with natural hair care companies, and also creating video series on women and their stories about empowerment. Eventually, XOLALI will own its own storefront, offering a wide range of accessories for all genders, as well as a full clothing line. For the MVP, XOLALI will start a Kickstarter campaign to fund the initial launch of 1,000 cotton scarves. In order to make this happen, I will need $25,000 to start with. XOLALI is a celebration of our Blackness, the sharing of our womanhood, and the awakening of self-love. Standing up against invisibility by telling our stories visually. The savior is you. Thank you.